Aha. Oh my. It's the perfect angle. Oh god. There's all three of them. All three cats. There they are. They're cat tier list. I think they're all S tier. Hey, what the? You see this violence? Anyway, something else interesting to talk about today. These are the top 5 highest MR. Look at the character spread on this. These players are all usually at the top of the MR list anyway, honestly. I've definitely seen all of the other 4 players in 2nd through 5th here in rank 1 before. I don't know if I've seen the Zangief player at rank 1 before. I think in this version of the game especially, these characters all got quite a bit better, right? I mean, Dalsum didn't change much, but I think nerfs to better characters are good for him. Last night, I tuned into Haitani's stream, and he was getting absolutely murdered by Itabashi Zangief. Like, Chun-Li versus Gief, he was losing 13-4 when I tuned in. If Chun-Li is getting beat up by Zangief, we're in for a wild season, huh? If you're wondering why do suddenly people think Zangief is so good, they buffed basically everything about him. His normals do more drive gauge damage on block. They build him back more drive gauge, more super on hit. They have like better advantage and better frame advantage on tons of different moves, like his knee, his forward heavy kick, his crouching medium kick. They made his chop go farther. They made his combos better. They gave him a new punish counter, crouching heavy punch. You know, they gave him a million things. Not only that, they nerfed parry, which makes him SPD punishing parry attempts better. And he does more drive gauge damage on block. And I think you'll see Zangief will have a bunch of success in this version of the game. He's a really fascinating character because one thing you hear a lot in every version of Street Fighter in like 4 and 5, he has been like kind of whatever or really strong or anywhere in between, right? Whenever Zangief gets buffed or whatever he's good, it's very interesting because the conversation that's been coming up, you don't want to see Zangief be a top 3 or whatever character. You don't want Gief to be the best character in the game. A lot of people will say things about this. You don't want a character who is really, really frustrating for people to deal with in terms of like their playstyle naturally to probably be the strongest character. But also the characters like Zangief and Dalsum and certain archetypes built in the game naturally are very sharp, really big strengths and really big weaknesses. They're not like well-rounded characters that are good at everything. Like Zangief is like really strong in this way and like really weak in some other ways. These characters are supposed to be that way. And if these characters are the best, what ends up happening is that their weaknesses just don't exist or don't matter, right? So if Zangief is top 3 or top 1 or something like that, or top 5, it's that the things that naturally his archetype is supposed to struggle with, he doesn't in that version of the game for whatever reason, right? Either the zoners are weak, his anti-zoning tools are really strong, or his offense is so good, or his neutral is so good that it doesn't matter, right? And the characters they let usually be strong are like well-rounded characters that are like pretty good at everything. They're not the best at all kinds of stuff, but they're just well-rounded, balanced. They're not archetypes that are really sharp and like frustrate people. This is not just a fighting game idea. If you ever heard balanced discussion about basically any game, they talk pretty often about some characters' playstyles being too frustrating to let be too strong. Shotguns in shooting games. The same thing with snipers or just like characters or playstyles that people find too frustrating. Comment in the chat says, every character that's strong is frustrating to play against. Yes, but some designs are frustrating to play against even if they're weak. Those are the archetypes we're talking about. I think it's fine if Zangief is good. Again, I don't think that Zangief is top 5 in this version of the game right now. A lot of people are acting like his buffs are not really big, but it's like very clear his buffs are really, really, really big. Like I think he's quite strong. They buffed him a lot, right? I kind of hate the top 5 has to be Shoto's design choice. I don't think it really is that way though. I think the only Shoto I'd put in top 5 is like Akuma. And I think a lot of people in the last version thought that like DJ, Cammy, Chun, who are not Shotos, were in the top 5. I think besides Akuma, Ken players were saying that Ken was the weakest Shoto and like Ryu is better. Luke is still top 1. Akuma is better. I didn't believe that the day I heard it. I still don't believe it now. I'm in like a if I speak, I'm in big trouble moment about Ken. I don't want to say it, but you can probably guess what I'm thinking about that character. What if he's the exact opposite of the worst Shoto? Like he's clearly a good character and he's clearly very strong. I think the Luke changes are bigger than people expect, but it's not popular to say that yet, so I'm not going to say it. Good clout management, you know what I'm saying? I also think that Luke is an excellent tournament character because he just slows the game down a lot and he can play really safe and he's really well-rounded. Kawano had Luke at like bottom 3 or something, which seems outrageous, but I think he's quite a bit weaker in this version with the damage nerf. Actually, we did talk about today that we should all form their own opinions, so I don't know. I would say at the very least that I think Guile and Chun-Li are better, and I also assume Akuma is better. It's easy to talk about the characters that feel strong, but bottom 3 feels difficult. I think a lot of people think Manon is still quite weak. Even Manon is like much better though, you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't think Lily is bottom 3. Lily is really solid. Also, I think importantly, Lily is good against Geef. If you play Lily right now, with the amount of Zangief running around, you're probably pretty happy. I think Ed is really fascinating because in this version of the game, I think he's worse than last version. But Japan thinks he's really good, and he does pretty well as a character, actually. Like, I don't think his results are that bad. And he's really difficult to deal with, I think, for most characters in the mid-range, right? Because he just stands around this range. He has this, which is really annoying to deal with. And then he can do stuff like this. Really annoying for characters to deal with. And it's hard to, like, approach on this. He strips a lot of your drive gauge. Then if he ever hits you, right, with anything, he gets a knockdown and he gets pressure without spending any drive rush. He's basically always getting back his drive gauge on like every like situation. He's back to like where he was before this, basically without any problem. Yeah, this move is outrageous because if you want to anti-air it and you commit and he empty jumps, you just die, you know, because he does it from so far. Despite that, I think he's weaker in this version than last. Like, I don't know how he could be better than the last version. Like, the light nerf hurts him. Every other character just got better. Every other character weaker than him, right? So, like, last patch, he was probably in the top of the middle, something, right? But, like, Aki, like, way better, right? Like, Geef, like, way better, right? Like, any character that was lower than him, Honda, way better. Ryu, way better. Lily, way better. Kim, way better. Manon, better. Right, so like, you know, Jamie, way better. So you think about all the characters that could have been weaker than him, probably. And like, all of them are better. Ryu, I think Ryu's solid, but not as good as the other Shotos. Ryu gets a billion buffs and Kennen ends up better. Yeah, I mean, Ryu got everything. I think Ryu's in a good spot though. I hope they don't forget about him. I hope like season 3, they don't like buff a bunch of other characters and leave Ryu behind. I think he's chilling. He's probably basically everything you'd want in Ryu right now. Denjin is more credible. Like, his knockdowns are better off of it. Like, the power-ups are pretty useful. His damage output is humongous, right? And, like, he just pulls up on you and kills you. Yes, everybody's playing Akuma still. But that won't change. I don't know if you know. Like, Akuma's just popular. As good as he is, I don't think I'd want to play him in tournament as a tournament character because I think I'd be miserable. I don't want to perish in one hit. I don't think I'm okay. If you think, okay, if you're typing to me saying, oh, I watched the video that says, here is how you beat Air Fireball from Akuma, and my character can just do X, I promise you, those videos are lying to you. Because those videos show you one spacing where it works. But when you fight a real Akuma, they're gonna throw the fireball from higher or lower and with different strengths. They don't work. They make them out to be very cut and dry, and they're lying to you. Those people play Akuma. I watched it, and it was like Aki hits down forward heavy kick, right? And I was like, all right. And I tried down forward heavy kick from like 8 spacings before I found the one that worked. And I was like, oh God. Like, you have to like walk all the way up in his grill. Yeah, Aki is so good in this version. She's really solid. I wonder how much better she is too. I think Cammy being worse is also really nice for her too. That's like a big deal. The thing is about Jamie is I've never played a Jamie who doesn't just fucking mash sweep, mash heavy punch on hit, and palm constantly. So it's hard to like tell if like a human being was playing him, how good he would be. I'll let you know when I fight some more good ones. Yeah, if I had to guess the characters that I think could be fighting for top 5, I think Guile, Chun, and Akuma are all really, really good. And then I think after that, it's like some combination of Juri, Ken, Aki, Luke, Cammy, that kind of a vibe. Rashid, Blanca, Zangief. Those are all characters that are really good. If you ask somebody, like, what's your character's worst matchup? Most people will probably say Guile. I saw a little bit of whining, especially about Zangief and stuff, but I think most people like the patch. I don't think a lot of people dislike the changes to the game. I will tell you, the whiplash from Tekken patches to this is pretty wild. Every Tekken patch to me has just felt like they are panicking and like TWT is occurring. And they're so freaking out that they're just like, oh God, we got to do something. Make something stick right now. How do we nerf this character right now? And then they have to like nerf the same move like 4 times because their nerfs don't actually work. And like literally in the patch notes, they're like, we're nerfing this character and we're going to like buffer again in a month. I don't know. We got to figure it out. And then they just leave. I don't know. It's so weird. I think the characters I'm interested in this version of the game are Aki, Ed, and Rashid. I'm not playing Akuma. Everybody's fucking playing Akuma. I'm not playing him, man. You say if I play Aki, there's no way to differentiate me from Broski. But if I play Ed, We're gonna run into the same problem. So does that mean I just like I land on Rashid as like the only one that like a white guy with brown hair is not playing? Diaphone picked Aki, we're full. Okay, well that means that if I play Ed, it will balance it out 2-2, or I can go to Rashid and things are split. IDK at Brian sticking with Ed. Oh my god, don't tell me he's gonna play Aki too. If Brian picks Aki, I will pick Aki. I'll just stack it. Yeah, we could be the fourth horseman, sure. I'm down.